Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Ruggiero, Vice President of Communications for Quilts Incorporated. And one of the most anticipated exhibits at the Long Beach Festival is going to be our annual judge show, A Celebration of Color. It's all about color, and it's sponsored by equilter.com. And I'm here with the first place traditional winner, Sharon Engel. Her quilt is Spring Explosion, which you can see behind me. And I'll go ahead and read her statement right now. Sharon said, I love spring and I love flowers. This pattern had me at the Lily of the Valley flower, which is my favorite flower. And this design was inspired by the Heralds of Spring 2 pattern by Joanne Webb with Valley Springs Design. So welcome, Sharon.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me how you decided you wanted to do this quilt and what about this pattern really attracted you?
I love applique, and my husband and I decided one year to go to the Kansas City Quilt Show, and they do that every other year. And I want to say it was in 2018, but it was before COVID.
Mhm.
And Joanne had her booth there, and she had her sample of this quilt, and it sucked me in. And I said, okay. It might have been 2016 because I know it took me a long time to finish this quilt.
Mhm.
And as I said, the minute I saw the Lily of the Valley on the quilt and it was 3D, I said, that's it. So, and it had piecing and applique, which I like. So
So you felt it really called to you. It drew you.
yes, it did. Quilts have a way of doing that to us quilters, doesn't it?
I've heard that. I've heard that over the years from a few people. I don't know. So,
Yeah, make me. It'll only take you 400 years, but make me.
well, Sharon, tell us a little bit about your quilting journey, like how you first got exposed to quilting, but then also what kind of has kept you interested and kept you creative.
Well, when I was first exposed was a great aunt who had the good old fashioned quilting bee in the hoop in the living room, and us kids playing under the quilt. And that was my first exposure to quilt. When I got married, that same aunt gave me a quilt that she had made. And I've always sewed all my life. My profession was sewing, and we added on to our house 25 years ago, and we had this wall, and I thought, oh, I think I'm gonna make a wall hanging. And I really hadn't made like quilts. And so I did. I got a book and found some wall hangings. I still have some of them, so I switch them out all the time. So that's my quilting journey. I now enter quilts into competitions just to torture myself, and and I make lots of quilts of valor. I do charity quilts, but yeah, that's how I started basically. So
Now, this exhibit and the judge show, of course, it's all about color. So tell
yes.
me a little bit about your use of color in this quilt behind me, or this quilt that's virtually behind me.
Well, the
And
nice thing about flowers is you can now Lily of the Valley, you don't do them in red, but for the most part, the flowers tell you what colors they want to be. But I love and what the other thing I liked about that quilt was it was three-dimensional. There's ruching on the daffodils behind you to kind of look like they've got a cone. I don't know how to explain the top of it. And with the Lily of the Valley, that's about all the three-dimensional. But I just love color. I love all kinds of color in a quilt, and I mean, we buy all this fabric for a reason. You don't buy black and white. You know? So yeah, I've just always been drawn to lots of color.
so this
So
this type of quilt, would you consider it really representative of what you're interested in or your favorites in terms of styles and technique?
no, I have all kinds of styles. I I do like pieced quilts, and I like to make a variety in the quilt. And I have a pieced quilt that is all pieced that I've done very well and that has done very well in shows, but it's colorful. So
Mhm.
mostly what I'm known for is my colorful quilts, and um, uh, not so much I love applique, but I'm not getting any younger to do hand applique anymore. So I'm trying to trans what's the word I'm trying to think of? Transfer to machine applique, which
Mhm.
to me is boring, but hand applique can be boring too. But no, I don't
I don't think
always.
anything's boring with you, Sharon. I've only known you a very short time, but you don't strike me as a boring person.
Yeah,
So,
oh, thank you. But no, I like to do a variety of quilts, and in fact I'm designing one right now that hopefully will be in shows next year. But uh, it's completely different. It has its mixed techniques. So,
yeah.
but
So
no, I can't.
look into your bag of tricks, maybe. If you could have one quilting superpower,
Oh,
allow you to do anything, what would it be and why?
um, oh gosh, I feel that I'm very good at hand applique. I love it when a judge is, I hate to say this, kind of digging their nails in the applique to say, oh, she did that by hand and you can't see the stitches. That's one that I'm very proud of, that I which also translates from what I did as my profession. But she says, oh, you can't see the stitches, which is good. The other thing that I get, I don't know, criticized about, I work very quickly. That also translates from my, I'm retired now, but from my profession. I want to get it done. And consequently, me and Jack the Ripper have a very good relationship, the seam ripper.
I don't think there's many women that would say that, but
but my superpower, to answer your question, I think I am very good at applique. I really make an effort to not see the stitches. And so anyway, I don't know if that'd be a superpower.
so what was your profession out of curiosity?
I made draperies and window treatments for 40
Mhm.
years,
Oh,
and
wow.
you do a lot, that's the other reason I'm fast. You get Ethel, who's sitting in her living room looking at this ugly window for 4 years, 10 years, 20 years, complaining to Harold, and she finally bites the bullet and says, I want new drapes. I don't want them in 6 weeks. I want them yesterday, And so consequently, you get things done quickly. But there's also handwork involved in hand hemming the sides and hand hemming the hem, And so I think handwork I enjoy handwork, and that's why it translates over to applique and making things. And but I retired from draperies
Well, I
after.
just for the record, I am not referring to you as a fast woman, so I'm just letting you throw that out there. I don't want everything on the up and up here in
Thanks,
this.
thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob.
Okay. Well, Sharon, you've been so delightful. Thanks so much for everything.
Thank you.
Tell me what you've got planned for the future in terms of either your art or your dogs. We saw your dog earlier.
Well, my husband and I are both now retired. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary last year. Which
Congratulations.
some years, as women know, it's a miracle to get that far out. But we're looking forward to doing a little bit more traveling. Our daughter lives in Rhode Island, and we're planning to take a month long and drive out there. And I'm currently working on a quilt about Colorado. And my goal, I'm one of those rare quilters that enter in the fair, the county fair, to kind of see how it does. So August 1st, I'm going to have this Colorado quilt done, unless Jack and I have a disagreement about something. And so far it's almost finished. And then I plan to work on some cool, you're standing there looking at your stash and you're going, what am I going to do with all this? Are they going to put it in the coffin around me? No. So I'm going to work on some charity quilts and some quilts about some non-thinking quilts to put
Well,
out there for other people.
hopefully you and your husband won't have a disagreement. If there are any marriage counselors watching
No,
this,
no,
if you have
Jack
any
is the seam
advice.
ripper. Jerry is the husband.
Oh, I can't keep them all straight.
Yeah, no, Jack is the seam ripper.
Great. Well, Sharon, again, thank you so much for taking out the time.
Yep.
I want to remind everybody you can see all the winners and finalists for a celebration of color at our Long Beach Quilt Festival, July 6th through 8th. And they will also be on display in Houston, November 2nd through 5th this year. So Sharon, again, thank you so much for taking out the time to talk to us.
Thank you.